Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hey, Ricardo.
Morning. It's actually afternoon.
Oh,
I just realized.
I've been running around a little bit. Okay.
Time flies when you're having a good time.
That's right. That is right. And we're going to have a good time talking about the Rosendale wetlands. Okay, let me just open the opening document and then I will be ready to go. Carrie, Candace, are we set from a tech end?
Hi, Madam Chair. We are all set to go whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Candace. Let me just open up. Okay, I have the disclosures for the beginning, and then I just want to double check. I assume. Okay, let me open the openings. All right. Could someone remind me the council arrival order? Of course, we'll start with the lead sponsors. Is there anyone else here? So is and let me double check. Is it O'Malley and Arroyo both on this one? Oh, this one was sponsored by the mayor. Okay. So could someone remind me what was the order of arrivals? Anyone know?
Madam Chair, I'm sending you a text message now.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I think we're good to go. Okay, I will Zoom gavel this hearing to order and welcome everyone. My name is Michelle Wu. I'm chair of the Boston City Council's Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation. And I'm grateful that we're all here for hearing on docket number 0559. I'll read some disclosures into the record at the beginning, acknowledge my colleagues, open it up for opening statements, and then we'll dive right in with the administration about the parcel we are discussing today. In accordance with Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 executive order modifying certain requirements of the open meeting law and relieving public bodies of certain requirements, including the requirement that public bodies conduct their meetings in a public place that's open and physically accessible to the public, the City Council will be conducting this hearing virtually. This enables the Council to carry out our responsibilities while adhering to public health recommendations and ensuring public access to deliberations through adequate alternative means. This public hearing is being recorded and live streamed on the City of Boston's website, boston.gov/city-council-tv. It will also be rebroadcast at a later date on Xfinity 8, RCN 82, and FiOS 964. Anyone that would like to testify on this matter, please email juan.lopez@boston.gov for the Zoom link. Okay, to read the matter into the record officially, docket number 0559, message and order authorizing the City of Boston's Conservation Commission to receive a property located at 108 Walter Street in the Rosendale neighborhood of Boston and identified by the City of Boston Assessing Department parcel identification number 2005195,000. This property is currently in the care and custody of the Boston Planning and Development Agency and is located in the Rosendale Wetland Urban Wild and will be a valued addition to this natural neighborhood asset. The matter was sponsored by the mayor and referred to the Committee on Planning, Development, and Transportation on April 14th, 2021. I'm joined by my colleagues here, Councillor Liz Braden, Councillor Ricardo Arroyo, Councillor Matt O'Malley. I'll do one quick scan of the waiting room, make sure we didn't miss anyone. Okay, no other councillors yet, but we will recognize them as they join. So I'll turn it over to colleagues for an opening statement, and then we'll dive into the panel discussions. Councillor Braden.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am just here. I know this wetland is not my district, but we have wetlands over here, and I really want to learn more about the process and hear your deliberations this afternoon. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Braden. Councillor Arroyo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm excited to see progress on the process of adding the 108 Walter Street parcel to the Rosendale Wetlands Urban Wild. 108 Walter Street is located in my district, and I've been happy to support this initiative alongside 104 Walter Street's affordable housing project. This is a project that the Longfellow Area Neighborhood Association and many other advocates have been working on for several years, and where we are today is in large part due to their efforts. The transfer of this property to Concom will expand the Rosendale Wetlands and allow easier access to the urban wilds through the parcel. Protecting and preserving our urban wilds is essential to climate resiliency and equity in the City of Boston, especially in District 5. And I'll be voting in favor of this order when it comes before the body. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor Arroyo. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to really thank the incredible advocates who have got us to this point. As many of my colleagues know, because I've talked about it at length, every time 108 or 104 Walter Street comes up, I played in this open field in these wetlands as a kid. And this has literally been a decades-long process, and I've been very proud to have worked shoulder to shoulder with so many individuals over the past decade in my time on this body to get to this point. This is a crucial part of our vision, and wanted to acknowledge not only the incredible individuals, Kathy McCabe, chief among them, and so many that we've worked along over the last decade, but really wanted to also recognize Chris Cook and former Mayor Marty Walsh. We were able to secure funding in last year's budget to get to this point. When this project is done, when 104, 108 Walter Street is completed, we're going to really have the grand slam. We're going to have affordable housing on site, pathways to home ownership. We're going to have new open land, refurbished green space. We're going to protect it. It serves climate resiliency. This particular plot has been ranked by the Mass Audubon as the top desire, the top opportunity for resiliency and acquiring of land. So this is a crucial step. Delighted and thank all the individuals who have made this happen. I've been very proud to have played a small part, but excited to get to this point and look forward to seeing quick action. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. Ditto to all of the above. We want to make sure this happens quickly, as it is now multiple months and years into so much effort from the community. So I want to just echo the gratitude to so many people who have worked very hard. And I'm excited that we are having a conversation about the tangible pieces today. Okay, so let's turn it over to the administration now. I have on my list Morgan McDaniel from the BPDA and Aldo Guerin from Parks and Recreation. I will, let me see if there's anyone else. Chantal, am I missing anyone else?
No, that should be it, Counselor.
Okay, great. Thank you. Morgan, would you like to begin?
Yes, good afternoon, Madam Chair and Councilors. I'm just going to take a moment to share my screen, if that's all right. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you today. My name is Morgan McDaniel. I'm a Senior Real Estate Development Officer at the Boston Planning Development Agency. I am joined by my colleague, Aldo Guerin, Senior Planner at the Boston Parks and Recreation Department. 108 Walter Street is a 37,000 square foot parcel located within the Roslindale Urban Wild. It was previously privately owned and risked being lost as wetland open space when the previous owner placed the parcel on the market. The local community, as several councilors mentioned, strongly advocated to the city that the wetland be preserved through acquisition by the Boston Conservation Commission. The private owner only offered the parcel for sale in an assemblage with the adjacent parcel 104 Walter Street, which contains a single family home. So purchasing only one was not an option. Therefore, community advocates proposed that the city use this opportunity to acquire both parcels, creating affordable housing on 104 Walter Street and permanently preserving 108 Walter Street. The Boston Planning Development Agency acquired 104 and 108 Walter Street in December 2020, using a combination of Housing 2030 funds, the Neighborhood Development Fund, and the Environment Department Climate Resiliency Reserve. Since that time, we have released a request for proposal for 4 units of affordable housing on 104 Walter Street, and responses are due on May 19th. We are eager to convey 108 Walter Street to the Boston Conservation Commission in order to permanently preserve this piece of wetland. And I will turn it over to my colleague Aldo.
Hi, I want to thank the committee for allowing me to speak, and I want to thank all the advocates and all the city councilors who've been working on this acquisition for many, many years. So, but my role is more about the grant and, of course, the Conservation Commission acquiring this project, this land. The state law requires that gifts of land, which is essentially what this will be from the BPDA, that gifts of land to the Conservation Commission be voted on by the City Council, and that's why we're here today. The other reason we're here today is without this vote, we won't be able to acquire the land, and without being able to acquire the land, we won't be able to get the state grant to reimburse us, partially reimburse us for the cost of this acquisition. The city paid BPDA back in December so that it could purchase the 108 Walter parcel on its behalf. And so we're now, in the process of receiving the land, and will be, doing various items to get the state grant money. Recording the deed is one of those. Recording the vote that the city council did back in, I believe it was December, to allow for the city to accept and expend this grant, and now this vote to allow the Concom to accept the gift. All those have to be recorded as well as the state's project agreement, which puts on additional conditions beyond Article 97 to be sure that this land is fully protected. So we're here today to provide any information you folks need so that you will recommend to the full council that they vote to approve this acquisition.
Thank you very much. Anything else in the presentation? We're good? Okay. Could we go back to the gallery view, please, so we can, I'm sure we might ask you to bring it back up if counselors or others have questions, but we'll go now to questions from my colleagues, starting with Councillor Braden.
I don't have any questions, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Let me see if we seem to have lost Councillor Arroyo. Councillor O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before I get started, I'm sure I will probably add addendums to this as we go along. I mentioned Kathy McCabe, of course. I'd be remiss if I didn't also acknowledge Jim Taft, Deb Beatty, Wayne Bellider, Janet Forrester, my aunt, Maureen Rodriguez, who've just been in the trenches and are so excited for this day. Thank you, Morgan and Aldo, for a quick overview. I mean, this is as I would hope, controversial of an issue that we've seen. I will happily invite to give any of my colleagues a tour just of this beautiful area and what this looks like. So I guess my only question, this may be for you, Morgan. You had mentioned that the RFPs or RFQs are due at the end of the month or middle May 19th, I think you said. What's a reasonable timeline going forward, would you say, for sort of when this project, and of course we're talking about 108 today, but it's 108 and 104, when we can expect groundbreaking and construction and ultimately completion?
Absolutely. So we wanted to be responsive to the community's desire to see things happen here quickly. So after we acquired the land at the end of December, we very quickly moved forward to have a community meeting in February, drafted an RFP, got it out on the street in early April. Responses are due May 19th. We will be having evaluation that includes another presentation to the community, 2 community members on our evaluation committee. Because at the urging of community members, Lana included, we are hoping to be able to designate a developer in August, assuming all goes well. Obviously, if it's appropriate to take more time, we will do so. Mm-hmm. I can't speak with certainty on what groundbreaking would look like, but I will say that because Department of Neighborhood Development has invested about $775,000 in the purchase of this property, they will not be providing any additional subsidy. So it may be able to proceed much faster than other affordable housing projects. So, maybe a year or two rather than 3 to 5 years.
No, that's fantastic. And again, just the fact that we are at this point, which was seen as an unattainable dream for so long, is I don't mean to diminish that. That sounds like a reasonable and a pretty aggressive timeline. And I appreciate, I know you've said this and I know you've demonstrated this, but just continued partnership with Lana as well as with the direct abutters. I think this is one of the rare development issues where you're going to see agreement essentially across the board. So this is something that's very, very excited. Can you share, and the answer may be no, but just out of my own curiosity, can you share how many RFPs have been, how many individuals have submitted an application thus far?
Sure. So we don't generally receive proposals until the day that they're due,
Yep.
but having had walkthroughs and a pre-bid conference, there have been at least 2 developers who I think are seriously interested in this project. It is challenging. The
Sure.
community is asking a lot, and we hope we'll be able to deliver. And then a few more smaller entities sort of dipping their toes in the water. So we'll be really interested to see what comes back.
Oh, that's great. And again, I think I've some of the communication we've received, just the affordability aspect is key, as we all know, and that's part of this. But also making sure that this is a net zero carbon constructed or a passive house type construction. I mean, just the fact that we've demonstrated that for affordable housing projects, it actually makes more beneficial sense, particularly for homes, in terms of utility costs, and also just the fact that it's a little slice of just some really beautiful urban wilds, to have some houses there and right across from the Arnold Arboretum. It's just remarkable. So, Madam Chair, I don't have any more questions. This is a day that very few people thought was coming, and I don't mean to jinx ourselves. We're not there yet. We're not at the ribbon cutting, but this is such a crucial step. So thank you to your great leadership in this, and look forward to voting in the affirmative on Wednesday or whenever this comes before us. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Malley. All I will add, also thank you so much to both sets of teams that have been working on this. And of course, I hope some of our advocates who are with us in the waiting room will also be testifying. And so we'll hear from, in some ways, the most important people who have been driving this forward. I just had one question in terms of what lessons or what have we taken from this experience, the process, the back and forth with community and the developer, that we can apply to future situations like this, where there may be a parcel that's available or trying to expand and continue protecting our natural resource areas. Anything that has stuck out as major lessons learned or what we should remember going forward?
Well, I can address that. What we're hoping to do is, as a city, develop a in-house capability for doing open space acquisitions. There may be times when we'll need outside assistance, like with BPDA and other entities. Oftentimes these acquisitions are a team effort, but we're hoping to get to a point where there's more expertise in-house at the Parks Department, for example. And we often, as in this case, assist Concom on land acquisition, and so certainly we'll be advancing on that because, as you're probably aware, the CPA has awarded Parks Department some funds for a acquisition fund. So we're starting to gear up for accepting applications from various entities for new land acquisitions for open space. Could be for children's play areas, it could be for courts, or it could be for natural areas, or even climate resilience projects. There's the Stella Road project that is primarily focused on climate resilience. So that we're obviously with this project learning a lot about the acquisition process that we haven't had as much experience with, and so that kind of experience that we're learning now is going to be invaluable in terms of these next steps. And we're certainly hoping that the city itself will, through its own capital budget, enhance the CPA funds or even replace them, given that there are certain let's say catches to CPA funds that provide, some difficulties that if the city were to just use its own capital funds would make the process much easier for us in general. But in any case, we're going to proceed ahead with, with the CPA funded acquisition process, and then from there, work to broaden it. And, we're hoping that, here in this case, this is, we've taken advantage of this opportunity. And as you've seen, this has been, it's kind of decades in the making. But we want to also attend to, other places, other neighborhoods. Sometimes other neighborhoods don't have the, the kind of home, grown domestic expertise on, city planning, city building, and need help from the city itself. We're hoping to provide that with, given that as the agency that puts together the city's open space plan, we're quite aware of where the different needs are in different parts of the city. And we've in the past addressed a lot of that. We want to keep going, much deeper into this and getting more sensitive and attuned to all the different needs that are out there.
Thank you so much. And I guess just to, since you mentioned it, although I think it would be helpful, could you just clarify for the record and anyone who's watching the flow of funds and how much and how that the sort of financial piece of this has been possible?
Are you meaning specifically about this particular project, the 108 Walter Street? Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So, the city, the city council and the mayor approved this current year's budget, and it included funds for a climate resilience reserve. So that's funds to enable projects that allow for different projects that can help improve and bolster the ability of land to deal with effects of global warming. So pretty much I think the first project that came out of the gate is this project, and keeping this open land in open and vegetated land in that condition, is a key, climate resilience, goal. So, it was a valid expenditure. So that money was, conveyed to BPDA for the 108 Walter Street portion of the project. Now, the BPDA will be gifting the land to the city, and the funds that it gave to BPDA will, be substantiated to the state, and then the state will reimburse us to the tune of 54% of the cost of the land. So we're right now in the process of doing that. This is like a very key step, because we can't sign and record a deed without this vote. So city Concom has to have city council vote to approve its acceptance of land, and so that's why we're here today. And one other thing I want to mention is because Councilor O'Malley asked about timing on the the housing portion of it, but for us, the state has June 1st as its deadline. So we're, really in a time crunch here. We've got a bunch of steps to do. So if it's possible that this Wednesday, the full city council could vote on that, that would be great. If it has to wait till, Wednesday next week, okay. But much later than that, the time crunch gets really, really bad. And then we have to start asking the state for extensions. And that's not a place we want to be. So we're hoping that we can, proceed as expeditiously as possible. The city council has already voted to accept and expend the grant, in fact, when I was reviewing the application that we made back in July, and many counselors, submitted support letters, including yourself, Councilor Wu. So, want to thank all the counselors for that, and just hoping that, we can follow through and try to meet the time frame here.
Great. Well, I can help on that front,
Thank you.
so we can make sure this will be on the agenda for this week's meeting, our first in-person meeting. So it'll be exciting to vote on that from the chamber. And I will just check if Councilor O'Malley, our President Pro Temp, has any other questions on this before I go to public testimony.
No, just to echo on all those points, because I do want to hear from members of the public. But thank you. Yes. Would be remiss as you talk about sort of the broad support among electeds. Of course, Councilor Arroyo and I did a resolution in addition to voting on the grant last month. I believe Councilor Wu, Councilor Mejia, Councilor Asabi George, Councilor Flaherty, as well as Councilor Roy and myself all submitted letters to Secretary Theoharides as well from the state level. So we've been united as a council and as well as in our State House delegation, Representative Coppinger, Representative El Ricardo, and Senator Rush have all been vocal supporters of this project in its totality, but certainly the different aspects as we relate to different state lands and funds and city lands and funds as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Okay, I see just 4 people in the waiting room. So I'm just going to admit everyone. Sometimes it's complicated with whether the raise hand function works. So I'll invite everyone into the main room, and we'll go one by one to see who would wishes to testify. Okay, I think everyone's in now. So as we do this portion, I think many of the folks who are joining us know the drill anyway, but if you could state your name and address for the record and keep your remarks to 2 minutes, that would be much appreciated. Thank you so much, Morgan and Aldo. I will be very grateful for if you have the ability to stay on a little bit just to hear from the public, and then we will wrap up after that. Okay, but feel free to, don't feel the need to be on camera or anything. We know you're there, and really appreciate you. Okay, so let's start. I see Frank had his hand raised, so we'll go Frank, Deb, Beth, and Julia in that order.
Yeah, hi, I'm here. Thank you. So this is great, and certainly speaking in support to address the question, Frank O'Brien, 43 Mendham Street, to address the question raised about what lessons are learned, which is a really key question. I'll briefly list a couple, and I do agree with Aldo's recitation, Aldo Guerin's recitation as well. So one of the key things was that the developer, the owner, set a reasonable price. That made it possible. It fell within the range of the appraised value, which is what government agencies need to purchase land at. Oftentimes we're seeing for other sites like Dale Street in Hyde Park, which is very similar to Walter Street next to an urban wild, and others which I could name, the owner sets the price in expectation of multiple variances at their full development value. And so we see some of the negative consequences of the city just granting wholesale variances. And so it makes it hard for any public benefit use, whether it's a library or a school for that matter. So the city's practice of sort of piecemealing development and granting wholesale, I would argue, unjustified variances wasn't true in this case. So that was very much to our advantage. The second lesson learned was that the owner was not a developer per se. Feeney Brothers, they're contractors. They didn't need to develop the land. When parcels that are sort of well positioned for conservation purposes are sold or have a development agreement, it gets much harder to conserve them. So the second lesson learned would be the city being proactive in identifying parcels for acquisition. And Aldo did mention that. So we would really encourage and look forward to working with the city on the proactive identification of parcels before they get too deep into the development process. And then the third lesson has to do with the sufficiency of funding. It was fortuitous that the climate reserve had been available. The city had previously, when Mr. Blackman was the environment chief, had zeroed out the line item for acquisition. And the city had not even originally intended to use this climate fund for acquisition. But Chris Cook was proactive enough in responding to the advocacy, just to find out, yeah, indeed, this can be used for acquisition. The CPA funding stream has its own limitations. And I won't enumerate all of them, but the city really needs to step up and through the budget process, allocate really adequate funding for climate related, as well as recreation and other related acquisitions. I'm estimating that it's like about 10 or $15 million that really is needed. And that's equivalent to any sort of major green infrastructure project, whether it's a bridge or a road. This green infrastructure is critical in the climate situation. And the last point in terms of lessons learned, and Aldo also referred to this, is the very critical use of matching funds. There's a lot of funding streams out there that are available, but the timing is important and matching them up with city funds is important. So proactive planning, sufficient funding, and really getting a matching fund program would be my recommendation of lessons learned. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Deb.
Hi, I'm Deb Beatty-Mell from 158 Walter Street. I'm a member of the Rosendale Wetlands Task Force and have been working away at this since the early 2000s. So it's really, as other people have already stated, really thrilling to see the transfer of land coming to fruition. We've been hoping for this for a long time and looking forward to it. And I just wanted to add my thanks. And as far as lessons learned, I think being able to see the project holistically was a game changer for us, where we had the affordable housing and the conservation aspects complementing each other, and not making it one versus the other, but having them both work together to make the whole project happen. So looking at the whole rather than just the sum of the parts, I think is what I would add. Everything else has really already been said, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for all your leadership on this. Beth and Julia, would you like to speak? No pressure, but I wanted to make sure people wanted to. We welcome that at this point. Okay. Oh, and I'm so sorry. Councillor Michael Flaherty had joined us previously as well. I neglected to acknowledge him. Councillor Flaherty, would you like to make any statement?
Can you hear me, Councillor Wu?
Yes, we can hear you.
Very good. Thank you. Obviously, it's thank you for hosting the hearing, of course, and also I think Councillor Malley was on as well. And for his leadership here. It's critical that we protect our urban wild and continue to expand the amount of available open spaces that we have for our residents for a variety of reasons, namely our efforts to accelerate climate resiliency efforts and to provide residents with vibrant open space and parks to enjoy. So looking forward to more testimony. Hopefully it's coming. Sorry for joining a little late, but I did catch the last couple of speakers. So look forward to your committee report and pledge to vote in support. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Flaherty. Okay, one last call for public testimony. The other two folks who are on. Oh, Beth, would you like to speak? I see you're unmuted.
Okay, and I put my hand up as well.
Yes, please
I'm
proceed.
Beth Colombo. I live at 7 Arborfield Road in Rosendale, and I'm also here with Kim O'Connell, who lives at 112 Dale Street. We're just thrilled that Walter Street is getting this funding. We had put in for a CPA grant for Dale Street parcel. Unfortunately, things have not worked out for us, but we are thrilled that somebody is getting funding for this. It's very important that we have this kind of funding rather than just putting up buildings all over the place. We need to have green space as well. So I'm thrilled that you folks are voting on this. I wish it was us as well, but Kim, did you want to say something?
We hope that in the future you can look at the parcel we're trying to save here. It's wetlands, It's non-buildable, but he's doing a technique through real estate, trying to have it developed and sell it as development property. And it's not, because the iPod that the city did through Mayor Menino, and Mayor Menino stated in the iPod that the city should buy that property, which has never came about. So we're just glad that the city council is looking at some of the wetlands and is setting forth buying some of this wetlands from private owners and making sure it doesn't get developed. I applaud you all for helping the community in saving these wetlands.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both very much for all that you've been doing. Julia, would you like to speak?
Madam Chairman?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
My name's Julia O'Brien, and I'm here on behalf of the LANA Board. I've been a longstanding member of the LANA Board, and Kathy McCabe has asked me to express our appreciation for the hard work that many of you did to get this moving and help us through what is, one has to admit, a very complex process to accomplish what has been accomplished here. I think that the LANA folk have been lucky in terms of the assistance we've received, both from our own board members and a long-time wetlands folk. And other communities may not have, as I think you pointed out earlier, some of that local expertise. So to the extent that city agencies can help to assist community groups in this effort, I think that's deeply appreciated. So our appreciation to the councilors and to the agencies, BPDA and Parks Department, for following through on this as effectively as they have. And we hope that we have a good developer and that the combination of affordable housing and resiliency is an example for other projects throughout the city. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's everyone who had been signed up to testify. We're really grateful that everyone could join us. Thank you so much to Aldo and to Morgan as well, and all of your teams. We will close out now. I'll toss it to colleagues if anyone wants to make any final statement. Councilor Flaherty, would you like to add any closing statement?
No further comment other than thank you for hosting, and I plan to vote in support when you submit a committee report, Madam Chair. And thanks for the folks taking time to testify and keeping this on the front burner. Thanks.
Thank you. And Councilor O'Malley.
Just very briefly, thank you, Madam Chair, for your leadership and partnership on this. And it should be noted, I took to heart Beth and her neighbors' comments as it relates to other buildable lots. I know it's a focus for me and you as well. And I'm very proud to have authored the wetlands ordinance with you that was signed into law, not quite at Walter Street, but the other side of the Rosendale wetlands. So I appreciate really the subtext of this hearing that this ought not just stop at Walter Street. There's a lot of other similar lots throughout the city that I know we're all committed to. So thank you for that. And thank you for everyone who made today happen.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Well said. And all I will add is that we very much want to see this replicated, expanded with urgency. So I'm so grateful. We know how much work went in, all volunteer from community members, research and advocacy, and taking so much on your shoulders. So very happy to celebrate this. I will make sure that we move this for this Wednesday's city council meeting, and we won't stop there. We'll make sure that this is just the baseline as the city moves forward. So thank you very much, everyone. This will conclude today's hearing on docket number 0559, message and order authorizing the City of Boston's Conservation Commission to receive a property located at 108 Walter Street in Rosendale. This hearing is adjourned.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.